Welcome back to our Community Spotlight podcast. Josh Watts, I'm delighted to have you with us today.
Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me.
You're very well dressed. I was saying this earlier. I'm like, you've really put on a show today for this.
No, I feel like very formal and what's a really cool venue. I'm still haven't quite got the dress sense here yet. I'm not quite hipster enough.
You're peaking. A lot of our members are now going to be like coming in white shirts after this today.
Trendsetter.
You know? I love it.
That's me, tastemaker.
Yeah, so look, thank you so much. Obviously, we have started this podcast because we really want to shine a light on our community members. And I'm delighted you've joined us now. You're in your third month with us here at Ormo Lab. So can't wait to dig in a wee bit more into that and your experience and how being as part of the community has really supported your role within Sustainable Ventures. We're going to dig in a little deeper with your career history, your background, and also what you do with Sustainable Ventures. You're the venture associate there. So we can't wait to look into a wee bit more about what that is and how you can actually support businesses here in Northern Ireland. So I suppose that's a really good place to start looking at your career history. I'm very lucky. I actually met you in previous roles when you were working with social enterprise businesses. So I suppose lucky to have met you then and now in this new role as well. Lucky to have reconnected. So I suppose take us back a little bit. Tell us about your journey, your career, and what's taken you to where you are now within Sustainable Ventures.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a really windy road of a career, but there's kind of been a theme across it, which I'll say in a second. But essentially, very first thing I wanted to do in business was just to work for myself. I just wanted that from no age whatsoever, and I just as early as I can remember. So whenever I was in university, I ended up doing family history research for Americans, here in Northern Ireland, which was like pre-Ancestry. It was just Ancestry had just kind of taken off. And it was just this way to kind of like get money. And I remember like people writing me like checks and having my first PayPal account and like doing my first Facebook ads for this.
Wow. So you officially set up as a business?
Sole trader.
Okay.
Sole trader. Because it was I couldn't get a bank account because it was like just after the recession or something like that. So it was just like a nightmare. And I was 18 and had absolutely no skills whatsoever. So the bank was like looking at me funny. But yeah, that was kind of like the bug. Yeah. But then I realised how little I knew. So I ended up actually going to PwC and spent 4 years there. And that was like an MBA. You know, it was Monday to Friday on a plane out to London or Manchester or Basingstoke and then back for 4 years. And essentially though, that was a massive training, a massive education in business. And that was what I wanted. But I ended up finding a niche of sort of weirdos like me that didn't want to just do the kind of finance and the corporate end of it. And I ended up working in social housing and local government. So that was amazing kind of experience, but it was this idea of purpose. And this is where my whole thing came. It was like, okay, right, I actually want to work with people who care about stuff.
Yeah.
So then I ended up getting a job back home, which was with the National Trust, which really sounds like really lovely and cool. And it is a lovely place to work, but it's probably the most commercially like on organisation I've ever worked for. So again, massive education, spent a year in the Giant's Causeway and then 3 years here in Belfast. Sort of survived COVID and all sorts of change there, and then ended up in the startup space where I've been since 2022 now, working as like a co-founder and an early employee, and founded a few things and helped found a few others.
So just to dig into that a little bit more, talk around that whole co-founder piece and supporting those businesses in that early stage.
Yeah, so I worked with a couple of guys that had set up a few businesses here in Northern Ireland and kind of was like an early employee there and sort of got in at the ground level of startups. Help them kind of grow and raise money and do all sort of grow the team and all that. And then from there, I kind of decided to go out on my own and do that as a service for people, particularly in the for-purpose industry. So working with private companies, but also with charities and social enterprises where we met, which was just this a way of saying there's these businesses out there that are trying to do more than just make money and they want to operate in the right way, not just in a profitable way. Yeah. And there's a whole adage, which is in order to do good, you have to be doing well. And so it was trying to help these businesses do well so they could go on to do good stuff. Yeah. And so that support was something I set up my own then sort of agency called Innovate and was working for the last 2 years and still doing it today, sort of 50% of the week, which is to work as kind of like an early stage co-founder essentially, but fractional and not taking any equity. Yeah. And just saying part-time, being a critical friend, an ally, a coach, mentor, whatever is there needed.
And that is a massive feat. Like, I think having somebody there when you are at the early stage of business or whether you're a fully fledged founder, it's nice to have somebody to have a shoulder to cry on, or a bit of support to go, hey, I'm thinking about this. Like, what's your thoughts? I think that is massive.
That's
so
it.
you really are that critical friend. That's so important.
That's it. And I've worked with guys and girls that are in their 20s with their first business.
Yeah.
And I've got another person I work with. I've been working with them for a year and a half now, who is in her 60s. This is her fourth business. She's an amazing entrepreneur. She's
Yeah.
worked in all sorts of industries. And she is in a space that she isn't familiar with. And she was like, I need someone else. And she's trying to do something around this for good, all around kind of respiratory health. And so working with her, like, and the thing that's the same about all the people I work with is that they all care about something greater than just the bottom line. They're all really commercially switched on, but they're all willing to ask for help. They're all willing to say, we need support. And from there, then we can build a relationship that says, okay, let's work together.
Yeah.
And that's really proud of the people that I've been working with from 2 years ago are the same people pretty much that I'm working with today. I've had that continuity of relationship with them.
That's awesome.
It's built up over that trust, which is really lovely.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think I could ever stop it, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And I've had to promise them that I won't stop it no matter what I do.
So would you say you would work more with those businesses that are very purpose driven and aligned with that ethos? Is that sort of who you'd be working with most?
Absolutely. Absolutely. On a personal capacity, that's my test. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're a charity or a social enterprise or whatever. It's just about that willingness to do something that's for good. And I guess that's where, I started my career, the kind of social side of sort of sustainability, moved into the kind of economic side of sustainability and kind of the National Trust, and then into the environmental side of sustainability, which is then where I am spending more and more time increasingly in that sort of ESG, how the environment, ultimately, if you can create a good environment, then you'll have happy, healthy people, happy, healthy places, people making money. It's all sort of interconnected and linked.
Yeah. It's nice that you've got that core behind you, because it can become quite muddy when you're working with entrepreneurs, when you're working with founders, and to keep that kind of core ethos always stuck. And for you, like, you've always worked in that sustainability arena. So I can't wait to sort of dig in a wee bit more to talk around the sustainable ventures. Before we go into that, has there been any wins, like anything over the last few years, specifically when you sort of taken that spin 2022, that you, when working with founders, there's been a small win or a big win being partnered with them?
Yeah, I mean, the big obvious ones are founders that have gone on to fundraise as a result of it, and they've got that first check and they've been able to then pursue what they're doing. And there's a few that spring to mind around that, particularly around sort of, as I say, this respiratory health, around using natural salt. Really interesting, non-invasive kind of pharmaceutical sort of grade salt, but distributed in a way using local technology, local suppliers, and someone with a vision 5 years ago, pre-COVID, before all this happened, and then being able to help them take that vision through is just really rewarding.
Unbelievable.
But then equally, I mean, I've fallen to this as well, which is helping people decide whether it's the right time to stop and not to throw in, good money after bad. And that's been something I've gone through personally with my own kind of startups that I've worked on as well on the side, where you've had that recognition and you've been able to have that honest conversation, and you've seen them then go on to do something that's much more impactful.
Yeah.
And that's just been really rewarding as well, to be like, right, okay, I've saved them the pain that I've been in as well, or they've pivoted, or they've done that decision. And just those small little things are really where I've seen the impact. I mean, sort of money is always the one that people jump to, but for me, it's that kind of relationship, that connection of saying, right, that person's now doing what they should have been doing. And that, to me, like, that's the ultimate sustainable business, is one where the founders are fully aligned to the mission of that business. That will be unstoppable because it's going to get really tough. And if you have like a drive and a passion and a purpose behind you, you'll just keep going. And no amount of setbacks will stop you. As long as it's the right thing and you're doing everything, to get back on your feet, you'll be unstoppable.
Wow. I could tell you're very motivating. I'm sure a lot of people have valued your mentorship over the years, which
Hopefully.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about sustainable ventures.
Yeah.
So this is really how, I suppose, yes, we met back maybe 2 years ago, a year ago. And then when you came in through the doors at Ormo Labs, you were in this new space with sustainable ventures. So tell us a little bit more about it and what your role is with the company.
Yeah, so Sustainable Ventures, they're been around since 2011, and they're essentially a spin out from the Carbon Trust, where two founders had seen this potential for sustainability as a business that was not really being utilised, not really being jumped on by the kind of government, and people were not spending money on it, and it was just kind of not given the time and the attention that the two founders had this vision for to take it forward. And through that sort of concept that sprung out, and the founding team was put together with this idea of, if you can create space and bring people together through physical sort of working together, plus then acceleration and support, with then investment ultimately, which we also do now, the idea being that you can create this sort of engine to help promote these sustainable businesses. And the whole concept is around climate change, carbon reduction, resource scarcity. So those are the kind of pillars of which sustainable ventures means when it says sustainability. But that small kind of initial concept in 2011 has sprung on to, I think we would say, we're Europe's largest clean tech hub, sort of 1,000 businesses supported.
Wow.
I think they can attribute about $1 billion of investment they've supported raising, and about 7,000 jobs created through the work and the programs and the support and their ecosystem they provided. And so they've been operating, they have a lovely big office in London, opposite County Hall, opposite Parliament, and that's a workspace they've been operating for a few years now. They've one in Manchester, and they've just announced one in Glasgow, but they've never operated in Northern Ireland. And so I'd come across them before. The role came up as a part-time project role here in Northern Ireland to help run a program with Invest NI, and immediately saw it, knew what SV were doing, and said, right, Northern Ireland needs a bit of this, needs that love for
and so
sustainability.
aligned to like what your whole ethos is as well.
Well, that was the fit.
Yeah.
So the interview was actually in a local bar, which is one
Love
of the
it.
best startup interviews, with one of the founders, James,
Yeah.
who was over here. He'd kind of, James, and a shout out to James and shout out to Gary, colleague from Glasgow, who'd kind of done the groundwork here. And they'd sort of seen the potential of what Northern Ireland's amazing ecosystem had around sustainable businesses, but just how little support there was for that niche. There's lots of startup support, like Ormo, etc. You know,
Especially when there's such a push for that whole carbon neutral world that we're living in now.
That's it.
So it's perfectly fitted.
Exactly. And so it was really sort of perfect opportunity, as you say, to sort of take my values in alignment, but with this engine, you know, being out on my own for 2 years, working as a solo founder, yes, with amazing people, but on your own, to actually then have a team and a bit of infrastructure around you that you can say, right, I could do a bit more.
Yeah.
You know, I'm no airs or graces when it comes to working with other people or working in a team or anything like that. It's just, what's the best thing to get what I want done? And in a selfish way, sustainable ventures are perfect for what Northern Ireland needs right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, really, really exciting.
Yeah.
And my role then is looking after this cluster that Northern Ireland Invest NI are putting together. And so it's, can we bring same sustainable ventures kind of ethos? Can we bring people together physically and sort of digitally in a space around this concept of sustainability and say, right, if we all work together, can we achieve something greater than if we could on our own?
Yeah.
And in sustainability, there isn't that network that exists for retail or manufacturing or photonics or any of the other kind of big industries. It's never had a collective voice. And so what we're spending the year doing is just trying to first off identify and surface that collective voice of all those amazing businesses.
That's awesome, because there's probably a lot of people listening to this and not aware of what Sustainable Ventures do on the ground here, specifically in Northern Ireland. So this is a great opportunity to connect in. And you are hosting an event coming up soon, which really, I suppose, is bringing people together. You're going to be hosting it here in Ormo Labs, which is awesome. So yeah, I suppose before we dig into your joining Ormo Labs, you talked around programs with Sustainable Ventures. What does that look like? I suppose I'm trying to really pinpick in what support entrepreneurs and founders can get from Sustainable Ventures, whether that's through the clusters or whether that's specific programs.
Yeah, so I mean, as I say, they've been operating in GB, but a lot of the opportunities are open to companies from across the UK and Northern Ireland. So really a lot of it's about my role as well, is just trying to make people aware of that because there's so much going on. So for example, there's a national hydrogen accelerator. So anyone doing anything at all with hydrogen, there's a national accelerator we're running off the back of a successful one that we'd already completed. And so that's, I think, over hundreds of companies working together around this idea of how hydrogen could be this future industry. And again, just this concept of bringing people together. But the previous program they'd done last year, it was really successful, really positive impacts for the companies involved. it's led on to the second phase. Locally then in Northern Ireland though, we're offering the Clean Tech Accelerator kind of through Barclays. So again, partnered with Ormo,
Awesome.
Barclays Eagle Labs. But this offers, I think, like 5 hours of mentoring with one of our innovation advisors, which is like anything from doing your first pitch deck to your first cash flow sort of statement, just getting your investment ready. And it's for really early stage companies more than anything.
Okay.
But it's just, you can be at the concept stage. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not too early to kind of get involved with anything, because if we can't help you, we'll know someone else that will. And I think that's the big
connection.
role
It's literally creating the bridge for support. If you don't know, it's like,
Exactly.
hey, I know somebody who does know. And I suppose, how do entrepreneurs, founders find out about that support? Where's the best place for them to go to find out about what this all is?
If you're based in Northern Ireland, just contact me. LinkedIn, Josh Watts.
This is when you get like bombarded.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, it is because you put the word venture in your job title and you do get bombarded by people looking for money. And Sustainable Ventures does have an SEIS, EIS investment fund, but there's another Josh that does that. And I think a lot of people get confused and see Josh and reach out to me. I don't look after the money, unfortunately. I just provide the support to hopefully get you money one day. But there's, reach out to me if I know someone, or if we can do it directly, absolutely. Awesome. But the support, it's really informal. That's the key thing. That's like why we're here at Ormo, because that support, like the big thing that we're doing, if you are involved in climate, carbon, we have companies that are doing like growing insects in their bedroom as sustainable food for chickens, I know.
I'm sure
right?
That's the most obscure.
I don't know. We might have more.
I love that. I want to meet this guy.
Yeah.
Or girl.
Connor up in the northwest. He's working through Queens as well and came in through that. Working with a lady who is making electric vehicles, particularly hydrogen vehicles, optimized just through software, like without having to go through massive tech changes. But she's just found this niche and studied through her PhD.
Yeah.
All the way through to people using big data and sort of accelerometers to help bikes be more, bike safety in cities, be more aware to the council so that they can see where there's emergency stops and swerves. Their C-Sense. They're based down in Newton Ards. So, I mean, there's no one size fits all for what this clean or green is. And it's just like, are you trying to do something that saves the environment? Does something a bit better, innovates in any way? Like, it's really broad. So don't count yourself out if you don't think it's a natural fit, because actually you'll be surprised at what counts as clean and green now. And you don't have to be kind of a Greta Thunberg to want to, to be involved in this. You just have to kind of care a little bit about something bigger than yourself. So I think
that's it.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So there you go. Just contact you and that'll be the next down. It's lovely because somebody had reached out to me and they were talking around the EV chargers. They were based in England, and it was lovely that I could just point them in direction of yourself, and you could help them, support them through the cluster approach that you do with Sustainable Ventures. Exactly. Like, I think that's awesome that we can just build those bridges for people. So yeah, the work you do is so super. And that moves us nicely on to your time here at Ormo Labs. So you are three months in, am I correct in saying
3 months, September, August.
Yeah.
About. Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly.
I can say that, but hopefully you can say that
yes,
too.
I can.
So yeah, tell us a wee bit more. You obviously came through the door and you were wanting to base yourself in somewhere, and you talked around it earlier, that whole piece around when you're a founder or when you're working with others, it can be quite isolating when you're on your own, you know. And suppose for you, what was the benefit of coming to Ormo Labs and becoming a member here?
Yeah, I mean, it was really obvious, I guess, which was that we needed a space where we could base ourselves out of, which was part of our ethos in Sustainable Ventures. So it was just the first step was we need a space that we can be a part of and play a part in, because that's part of our ethos. I used to work for the National Trust as well. We all care about places, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I used to work for the National Trust, looking around an old, lovely Victorian sort of era building as well really helps with that as well. It's just a physically lovely space to be in. But really, the key thing about this compared to other workspaces was that it was focused on startups, high energy, people who were there to grow something. And I think that was the big thing for us, is like, we can go to another workspace, not to, step on your competitors in the market by any means, but you can go to other workspaces and it's very transactional and it's filled with lovely, hardworking people who don't make a noise.
Yeah.
And actually, there's something about the vibrancy here that just was like, right, okay, this is where we want, this is where the energy is.
Yeah.
And this is where we want to plug into. So between the actual, just the community members and even looking out the window, you know, there's people out there that you see that you can literally grab a coffee with.
Yeah.
Or I'll shout out to Colm. You can see the back of his head there. He's in our cluster. And that man is CTO for Responsible, one of our cluster members, but also has worked in developing clusters of companies before. I am absolutely picking his brain on everything that he's done because he has like 20 years of experience doing this. And I never would have come across him if it wasn't here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of...
That's awesome.
That's the point.
It's the power of the community, which
Exactly.
and I love saying that when you walk through the door, there's a real feeling here and everyone just wants to help.
That's it.
It's like nobody sits in isolation at their little desk and just does their job and then leaves. It's very much about community spirit, which we love to support here as well.
No, that's it. And I think I've been to a few founder labs or founder nights before, and they were good, don't get me wrong, but the thing for me was then the what next. And I think that was the thing that I really found when I joined here was actually it's all happening. And I think that's the thing I would encourage anyone that goes to like one of the founder nights to then come and meet you and then have that bit about what happens at the day, because actually the founder nights are only like a sliver of what you see. And actually that next step was the thing for me that said, oh, right, okay, there's actually a lot more happening that I just wasn't even aware of. Yeah. And I think it's becoming more, people are becoming more aware of it since I think you've been in post, really. I think it's been pretty vibrant in terms of the social media and the outreach, where I've seen a lot of founders from Queens now going, oh, actually, I wouldn't have considered this place before. And now they're starting to see more and more sort of behind the scenes. And they're seeing, I think after COVID and everything else, people are now just sort of looking out for that kind of thing. And yeah.
Absolutely. I think even for me, when I was in my previous role, I worked from home because it was COVID. Yeah. And I didn't realise how powerful isolation can be and how much that can impact you. And just being in a space like this, I feel like my productivity excels because you just come in here and you want to get work done. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it?
I think it's a mixture of seeing everyone else working hard and then Napoleon coffee.
Oh, yeah. that is awesome.
Strong coffee, which I am like a no coffee after 12 kind of guy, because like it literally
I'm one
sleep.
coffee kind of a day kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that has definitely like spiked the work. Spiked the work up. But it's that thing, just surround yourself with people. You know, you should something that you should always be the kind of like the least productive person in the room, or you should never be the smartest person in the room. You know, you should always surround yourself with people that are smarter and faster and better at you and everything. And kind of there's that nice rising tide thing here that I think, I think it's, I just don't think enough people are aware, as I say, of the kind of what that feeling is until they come. Yeah. And I think, I think that's a good thing. Yeah. You know, like bottle it up and let people come and experience it.
We should sell it. We should sell that bottle up and sell it.
Exactly.
So tell us, have you any rituals, daily rituals? I always ask this to everybody when you come to Ormer Labs. What's your daily ritual?
Napoleon coffee, unfortunately. I say unfortunately just in the sense that it's becoming a habit, I think, rather than a ritual. I should probably try and not. I use the hot desks.
Yeah.
The hot desks. So for me, it's just like get in, get a hot desk. I normally pass by the front desk, chat to whoever's on, see what the
always fill us with a joke.
Try a joke. Yeah. People that have worked with me before will know I love an analogy and a terrible, what do you call a man with a seagull on his head? Cliff kind of joke.
It's not the worst one I've heard, believe me.
Yeah, no, there's better. There's better. And there's worse. But yeah, like, because I'm not here every day. Yeah. And I probably come here 3 times a week, which is perfect for me. Yeah. And sort of in and out. So normally, try and see what the crack is, get a coffee, and then sit down and try and just blast through stuff. I think, I think the first month I was just figuring out I was like scared to make a noise and like scared to like do anything, because you were just like, you were the new kid.
Yep.
And everyone's kind of been there and a lot of people are there. And then you realize actually, there's loads of new people in all the time. And you realize you're like with a whole cohort of other new people, and the people that are here are really sound. And like, again, people have calls at their desks or whatever, and like no one's really noisy, no one's really loud, and you can just kind of settle into it. So it's quite nice like that. It's quite relaxed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Napoleon coffee has been has been probably the biggest impact in my, I hope a positive impact in my mental health and productivity.
It does feel.
But there is
does
a
feel
worry.
good 9 to 5.
Yeah. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, by the way, and I'm not looking for a freebie. I just want to disclose that. Just genuinely good, just a genuinely good group of people in there, just making genuinely nice coffee. Endorsed by nothing but sheer passion, I promise.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to finish up. This has been awesome. I love just like, even there's things there you're saying, I'm like, I did not know this. So that's really, really cool. So yeah, just to finish up, we're going to do some quick fire. I always do this to kind of get
okay.
so you don't know what these questions are going to be.
No.
So these...
Try not to get cancelled.
First one's nice and easy. One thing that not many people would know about you.
Yeah, well, I already said I was a genealogist was my first job, so I feel like I can't reuse that one. I flew a plane before I drove a car down in Newtownards.
Okay, wow.
Newtownards, yeah. In a past life, I was going to join the Air Force.
Yeah.
And then I realised I couldn't see anything. So, thankfully, I realised before I got into this plane. But yeah, I flew a plane down in Newtownards Airport before I'd stepped into a car. So there you go. That's fun.
That's pretty cool. That's an interesting fun fact. Do you have a party trick?
No, but I have one that I want, which is the dance to Rasputin from Just Dance. You know the song Rasputin by Boney M?
No.
There's a dance.
This is right.
There's a dance. Maybe this is
in our social clip. We will insert that soundtrack.
Yeah, there's a dance. Is it Just Dance in the PlayStation? It's like this like morph suit guy, but there's a dance.
Yeah.
And it's like the most plugged into social media I am. And I just want to be able to learn that because it's always played at weddings and things like that.
And you just want to get up there and
I just want to have that. Yeah. So I've got
Sure.
it, but I just haven't put the yards in yet to learn it.
The Christmas party, like if that gives you something to go on, you could get it ready for the Christmas party. You've
10
got
days,
a month.
20
You've got
days.
like a month and a
Yeah,
bit.
right, okay. Having never danced before, by the way, and having probably no rhythm whatsoever, but I'll try.
Okay. What's one book or podcast that you've really enjoyed?
Well, I mean, podcast is easy, which is The Rest is History.
Okay.
Which is two guys, Tom Holland, not the Spider-Man one, and Dominic Sambrook, and they have like 800 episodes or something now.
Yeah.
And it's like the one podcast I pay for to get rid of the ads. There's so many ads.
No.
But it is, I studied history at uni.
Yeah.
And so this is my like way of connecting back with that.
Nice.
And they're really interesting as a pair because one's kind of like a Guardian writer and would write about ancient history, and the other one's like a Daily Mail writer and would write about modern history. So they're kind of like two different ends of a political spectrum, two different types of history, but they just tell these stories and they don't do it on purpose, although they probably do because they're really clever, but they just make everything kind of like an allegory about where we are today. And you just kind of realize how small and insignificant the latest political storm is in the grand scheme of what happens in history. And actually how it's all happened before. And like history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And it's just, but like you do find yourself going into things as well that you'd never would have listened about, like 20 episodes, like 20 hours worth of history about Colonel Custer and the Battle of Little Bighorn and the Native American kind of fight against the American expansion. And like, this is an area I would never have studied. And you just hear all this stuff. I would totally write. It sounds.
I feel like if you were on Mastermind, that would be your.
It might be at this stage.
Your really
20 hours.
bespoke topic.
I've spent more time.
Colonel what? Custer?
Colonel Custer, isn't it? Colonel Custer. That's
I thought you said Colonel Custard.
Colonel Custard. I'm now like
Sponsored by Ambrosia.
Yeah.
Very good.
But I would recommend that.
Very
and then
good.
I'll give you a startup book as well.
Yes,
then
do.
it sounds like more in line with what the ethos is here, isn't it? Sort of like I'm a professional, which is Build by Tony Fadell.
Okay.
Which was recommended to me by a founder I used to work for back a few years ago. And I have to say, it's the one thing that I really took away from that. And Tony Fadell was like, is it the designer or the CTO for Apple for the iPhone?
Wow.
And he'd worked for Philips as a CTO, and then he went to Apple. I don't know exactly what his role is, but he basically was the kind of the guy behind the iPhone in terms of its build and release. And then he went on to do the Nest thermostat. So he's been around the block, but the book is just this like no BS. Every chapter you can kind of just read on its own. And, you know, there's an amazing chapter about breakpoints, which I keep going back to, which is like the stages at which a company kind of evolves. He talks about like birthdays. You know, when you have like 2 people, it's really easy to celebrate everyone's birthday. But when you have 20, it's like, that's a lot of cake. You know, and how your culture has to evolve.
Yeah.
And it's just the most clear, simple way I've ever seen anyone just articulate the kind of the journey.
Sounds so
And
interesting.
it's like Build. It's called Build. It's a big orange book, and it's like sits on my desk, and it's like one of the few books I have that has like, you know, like the sticky things coming out of it. Like I still go
there's
back
moments
to it.
of just inspiration that you've just jotted down.
And it's like it's so simple in how it's written that it is really elegant. Then
I think
So,
that's the thing with startups. There's so much support and there's so many people telling you their advice, and actually it can become quite complicated and confusing.
100%.
So when you've got something like that that's very to the point, clear, that's actually
Yeah.
very valuable.
The founder that I worked with,
Yeah.
he wanted to give everyone a copy of it for their induction. That was like, it was like going
Wow.
to be part of the induction pack was a copy of this book with everyone that joined, because he was like, this is how we're operating,
So cool.
and everyone should get behind it, because this is just how you should build a company. Really good.
Awesome. Final question. One piece of advice you would give to a startup who is in that sustainability world?
Contact me. That'll be the first thing.
Massive plug.
Massive
love
plug.
it.
Well, no, but even just to have a coffee
Yeah.
and just chat. But it is a lonely place.
Yeah.
Starting a startup, like it is, and places like Ormo definitely help.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a startup sort of space like sustainability, especially if you're not doing like a SaaS platform, it is even lonelier, because it is a hard slog. Like 80% of the companies we would invest in, for example, are hardware, and hardware is like hard to do. You know, it is not something you can sit in a bedroom. It requires more money than you could ever think of. It takes longer than you ever think of, and though the rewards are much bigger. And so it's just find a group of people that you can work with, find a community, find somewhere like here, find the cluster, and just make sure that you've got people with you on it, because it is going to be hard, but it is so worth doing. So reach out to me as part of reaching out to everyone in the space that you can.
That's awesome advice. That's really good. Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
For taking the time to join us today.
Pleasure.
It has been a real pleasure, and it's been really insightful.
Didn't get too many bad jokes in.
No, we only need one.
Only one.
Thank you.
Thank you.